Journey with David Howard.
I'm David Howard, and welcome to The Journey. I've been all over the world collecting artifacts and documenting many societies, but after hearing of Palawan Island in the Philippines, I decided a trip to the tribes and a study of the mainstream Christian culture on the island warranted the journey. What drives me on to travel such great distances to come to terms with the people and their way of life, so remote and so far from my home, is a primordial instinct for the integration of life, death, and love into the art of living. I had come all the way from Manila on a rough 24-hour sea voyage, hoping to understand the modern Filipino culture as well as the very old native tribes. Here on Palawan Island, the final Filipino frontier.
Many of the passengers carried all their worldly possessions with them in cardboard boxes. As the scurrying crowd disembarked, this whirlwind of humanity blurred into a sea of faces, intent only on completing their migratory journey.
After docking at Puerto Princesa, the capital city of Palawan, I wrapped my cameras in rice sacks to confound potential thieves. And with the help of two porters, I continued my trek by tricycle to a local guest house.
Palawan is located in the southwestern part of the Philippine island chain. Made up of mostly mountains and jungle, Palawan's coastal region is the only land which can possibly be used for agriculture. The island's ecology is so unique, it spawns plants and animals which can only be found on Palawan. There are very few inhabitants, but the Batak and Palawan tribes can still be found. And now, together, this becomes our unique journey of coming to terms with the inner self through the understanding of these people of Palawan. Filipino culture can be roughly divided into two main categories: the mainstream Catholics and the native cultural minorities. The mainstream Christian families exhibit great solidarity, emphasizing loyalty and support. It is not unusual for a Filipino family to have many children. The majority are Catholics, but native tribes still practice their own form of religion. The mainstream Catholics require commerce for survival, but the Filipino tribes do not, because they can be self-sufficient.
After leaving the guest house, I continued my travels to meet the Palawan tribe in the mountains, far from this urban activity, when I was sidetracked by the personal life of my tricycle driver.
You have a family?
Yeah, family.
What do you have? How many children?
5 children?
5 children?
Yeah.
You would come to visit your family?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll go down there.
Yes.
Unlike Western culture, Filipino family structure places emphasis on the group rather than the individual. Any criticism of a person is not directed at the individual, but focuses on the family as a group.
You see the house?
Okay, let's see the house. Yeah, let's see. Okay, this is like your living room. Okay.
Let's see where your sleeping place is. You're sleeping in here. I see. You, your wife,
Yeah.
the baby,
Yeah.
and then the other four children.
Yeah.
They all sleep here.
Yeah.
So you have then there's seven that sleep here.
7.
Seven altogether. The baby's okay there. Yeah. Lunchtime, huh?
Yeah.
I felt privileged to be invited for lunch. It gave me the chance to glimpse a Filipino family within their home.
Many Filipinos believe wealth is derived by having as many children as possible. But once again, it was time to take the tricycle out and work in hopes of making a living for his wife and 5 children. Only the jeepney surpasses the tricycle in being the most popular means of transportation within the Philippines. When World War II ended, the United States Army left their infantry jeeps behind all throughout the islands. The jeepney originally was fabricated from these abandoned military vehicles. Owned and operated usually by its driver, the jeepney creates an alter ego and a persona for all the vehicle's occupants, as well as remaining a distinctly Filipino cultural characteristic. With laughing horns and disco lights, traveling by jeepney is an unforgettable experience.
The following morning, my journey resumed, once again with the plan to visit the Palawan tribes in the mountainous highlands. I was hoping to get a boat heading north. There was nothing available going my way, but I was able to see the fishing families just as they were coming into port.
The greatest abundance of fish in all the Philippines is caught off the coast of Palawan. 60% of all Manila's staple foods for its 11 million people originates from Palawan fishing boats. The families of Palawan, using their outrigger boats, band together to gather the harvest. Even with this great abundance, nothing is ever wasted. Even the jellyfish are eaten. Filipinos have developed a deep sense for cooperation in all aspects of their lives, and by working together in this way, it becomes possible for these fishing families to survive. Blocks of ice are frequently placed on board the boats, especially on long fishing trips, to help preserve the catch.
After leaving the peaceful shoreline, I headed off into the rugged interior of the island with a desire to glimpse the few surviving primitive tribes people. I should have said a prayer before leaving the city of Puerto Princesa, because this 4-hour trek on top of a jeepney, covering only 60 miles on a dirt road, unexpectedly turned out to be a rough ride in the rain. I was hoping to find the mountainous jungle habitat of the native Batak tribe. I set out with 3 porters and a guide, hoping to locate these elusive, exotic, shy natives.
The Batak are nomadic and virtually extinct. The tribe had numbered over 4,000 at the end of World War II, but now have fewer than 500 surviving members. The Batak believe in a variety of nature spirits and supernatural beings. They rely on shamans to mediate their relationships with these spirits. The Batak gods inhabit specific rocks, caves, streams, and other places within the natural environment. The story of the Batak is one that has been repeated throughout history. A society that has survived for centuries suddenly falters and passes out of the human record. The Batak have evolved by developing an elaborate tropical adaptation. They live in small mobile families and hunt and gather a variety of jungle food. The rich fishing waters that had once supplied the bulk of the Batak diet are now lost to them forever. The surviving members of the tribe have since retreated back into the mountains and acquire sustenance only from within the jungle. One of the most pressing global issues of the late 20th century is the rapid disappearance of many of the world's remaining tribal populations. Here, survival of the fittest is a reality rather than a theory.
I was exhausted from the jungle trek, and it began to rain again. So I hopped in another jeepney back to the city of Puerto Princesa. One of the other passengers told me a beauty pageant was in town, and it seemed as if I would never find a starker contrast between the rural communal world of the Batak tribe I had just left and this modern urban beauty pageant I was just about to see.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the search for Miss Puerto Princesa. Tonight will be more exciting because you will see our 20 beautiful young girls in their swimwear.
As the women from Puerto Princesa, Palawan prepared themselves for the beauty pageant, I was able to get a first-hand glimpse behind the scenes.
Number 4. You think you have a chance of winning?
And as it turned out, she did win.
Every Filipino town has their annual beauty contest. This culture loves the concept of judging and evaluating beauty. The most attractive children are first groomed through their participation in the Catholic religion's processions, which eventually leads to and helps prepare the most brilliant stars for the runways of tomorrow's beauty pageants.
Ladies and gentlemen, our Miss Puerto Princesa.
The Christian rituals which lead the Filipino beauty contestants to their pageants start with an extreme devotion, frequently manifested by carrying images of Christ wherever they go. Stickers, statues, and medallions are attached to all forms of their personal possessions. Even their tricycles are temples devoted to Christ. A distinct Filipino code of ethics originated in the Philippines during the 16th century, when the Spanish conquered the islands and converted many of the native tribes to Catholicism. The cultural exchange between old native customs and modern tradition continues even to this day, as indigenous rural tribes feed elements of pagan ritual into Christian celebrations. The urban Filipinos frequently exhibit large-scale placards and signs in public places, reminding the masses of their devotion and commitment to Christ, their Lord and Master. Christ truly is omnipresent in the Philippines. For every saint there is a sinner, and their crimes against God and man continue to be committed. In the Iwahi Penal Colony, only 4 miles from the church in Puerto Princesa, the undesirables are segregated from the rest of society. This prison without walls is surrounded by jungle and ocean, which makes escape virtually impossible. It very much resembles any average Filipino village. Some of the colonists even have their families living with them within the prison. The colony is a work farm, where road construction, fishing, and rice cultivation are only a few of the jobs performed by the prisoners. A bloody tragedy occurred here when a 24-year-old inmate, Gonzalo Boldogo, and his accomplice took the warden's son and daughter hostage and fled into the mountains. This is the police headquarters in Puerto Princesa, where eventually one of the 2 escaped convicts was incarcerated.
This time,
As the tale was told, one escapee returned to the Iwahi penal colony to give himself up. By that time, the murder of the warden's son and the rape of his daughter had been discovered. The colony guards, in turn, murdered the first returning culprit as retribution. A few days later, the second fugitive was apprehended and confined here to protect him from the same fate which met his accomplice. The society does not condone expressions of hostility, but when repressed, builds internally, invariably exploding uncontrollably. The Filipinos refer to this classic syndrome as amok. The unleashed, pent-up aggression associated with amok results in the arbitrary selection of any individual as a victim. This is the rapist and murderer Gonzalo Baldogo. He was kept in solitary confinement, isolated from all the other prisoners who would have potentially harmed him, because even they saw his crime as being so heinous it justified the death penalty. Not all the aggressors within the Filipino society are removed and placed into penitentiaries. The love of a good fight is also seen in the national pastime of cockfighting. It was first discovered by the Spaniards more than 500 years ago when they visited Palawan. And even today, every large Filipino town likes to boast about their cockpit. Gambling is illegal, but it is a major interest at every cockfight. While the participants negotiate among themselves for a suitable cock opponent, the cosador, or bookmaker, calls out all the odds and with his remarkable memory notates all the bets. Because razor-sharp blades are attached to the rooster's legs, the cockfight to the death is over in a matter of minutes. With the loser taking his dead champion home, it now becomes the main food ingredient for the meal, tulunan, also known as the loser's repass. The Bajau, a Filipino cultural minority, have developed their own distinct morality. Originally wandering sea gypsies, these recent Muslim converts have begun to settle down here in houses constructed on stilts, which stand over the coastal ocean waters.
You live here?
Yes. You want to go with me to my house?
Where is it?
It's only right there.
Okay, I'll go with you.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, let's go.
let's go. Are you married?
Yes, I'm married.
Do you have many children?
I got 2 boys.
Uh-huh. So then, how long you been married for?
8 years ago.
What's this place that's here?
Muslim area.
A Muslim area?
Yes.
What's it called, the place?
Sedang Bato.
Okay, I'll follow you. Go ahead.
My wife is cooking rice
Very nice.
because I'm hungry.
So what kind of place is this? You have your house on sticks in the sea?
Yup, in the sea.
So your house is raised up on stilts?
Mm-hmm.
So you and your wife and your 2 children sleep here?
Yes.
It's one room only?
Yes.
So, I see. So then you cook over here?
Yes.
What will you have for lunch, Joe?
Rice and fish only.
Uh-huh. This is your kitchen and your dishes?
Yes.
And what do you have over here?
Clothes, radio and cassette and TV.
Oh, you have a TV as well. That's very nice. How about a toilet?
Not toilet here.
No toilet. Oh, you have a light bulb as well there.
Yeah, I got light.
So you're able to have light. That's very nice. Thanks a lot for having me here.
Mm-hmm.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. I'll see you again, Joe. Thanks for
Okay.
having me. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Many of the Bajau still live in small boats with extended families. About 30,000 live throughout the Philippine Islands. The Bajau deceased are buried on special islands serving as graveyards, which are only visited for funerals. Here on Palawan, the Bajau dive for coins, tossed with goodwill into the sea by benevolent observers wishing for good luck. Most of the Bajau have given up their traditional nomadic seafaring life of pirates and smugglers and now survive predominantly by fishing, trading, and agriculture. Originally, the Bajau were mystical, and despite now being Muslim, they still believe in and fear the spirits of the fish, sea, and wind.
After my brief visit to the Batok had been cut short by thunderstorms, I felt the need to see more primitive tribes people.
Thank you.
This time I headed south, on Palawan Island, to meet the Palawan tribe. It was a long, exhausting jeepney ride with an overnight stop in a small coastal town. It took 2 days of hard traveling before I would get to the Palawan village of Bono Bono. The further away I moved from the city of Puerto Princesa, the worse the roads became. The holes on the route, now full of rainwater, made travel very difficult and time-consuming.
After finally arriving in Bono Bono, immediately it became apparent this Palawan tribe still practiced some of their ancient traditions. The natives began using bamboo blowguns and poison wooden darts to hunt small prey. Hunting and gathering are still the major sources of food, but domesticated animals and farming are now beginning to play a role in the tribe's survival. The bolo machete, a spear with an arrowhead-pointed blade, and the bamboo blowgun are the three most frequently used weapons by the Palawan tribe for hunting and gathering. And this simple pounding tool is used to remove the husk from the rice they grow, while feet and friction create designs on the barrels of their bamboo blowguns. Centuries ago, the Palawan tribe created their own unique religion. The rituals, accompanied by music, are conducted by shamans who dance with and around a wooden idol called Tao Tao. The Tao Tao helps the shaman protect and predict the future for the tribe.
We regretfully left the Palawan tribe and made our way back down the mountain and out to the coast. The roads were washed out and overland transportation was not available, so I arranged passage north with an outrigger boatman.
The boatman's intriguing description of an underground river cave on Palawan's west coast provided inspiration. The cave became the next destination, but it was impossible to make the trip in one day. After becoming stranded, this uninhabited tropical island unexpectedly became the only opportunity for the night's shelter. As the sun began to set, the inner island revealed a vision of magnificent natural beauty. After resting overnight on the uninhabited island, the port of Sabang was in sight by the following morning. There were a lot of outriggers docked, making it very difficult to reach land. Sabang is a beautiful Filipino village and a good jumping-off point to see the underground river cave.
As it turned out, I needed a way to carry the cameras down the 4-mile beach, which led to the mouth of the underground river cave. And as luck would have it, this was the only transportation available in Sabang. But it worked. At last, I was beginning to feel as if I had discovered the real meaning at the core of the ancient Palawan culture, an inner world of darkness and mystery. And as I encountered the other visitors to the cave on this last leg of my journey, I realized in their own way they were also journeying back into the cradle of the past with me.
The cave's frightening network of confusing underground waterways was extremely beautiful. The natural limestone formations at times towered several stories overhead, making this experience in the heart and mind last forever.
I realized birth is an end as well as a beginning as I look back just one last time, vowing to return someday to Palawan, the final Filipino frontier.
Journey with David Howard.